Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Iblis Manifestations Podcast. This channel features lengthy off-limits conversations with various different artists and entrepreneurs, predominantly from the underground metal scene. We take deep dives into the topics of life, music, spirituality, and take insight from a variety of thought-provoking perspectives from personalities who you don't often hear from in a mainstream settings. I am your host, Cheyenne, and I was originally born and raised in Iran and currently reside in the UK. I am the frontman and founding member of the black death metal band TRIVAX, who have been active since 2009. The band originally started in the Islamic Republic of Iran, where such type of music is banned as well as a punishable offense. You can check the band's pages for any updates on tour dates as well as new music. I am also a personal trainer and an online fitness coach who specializes in people achieving the best versions of themselves physically and mentally. Having been someone who was once extremely out of shape and overweight, I find it to be my duty to be able to pass on the information and knowledge which I've gained to help others achieve the same transformation. The Iblis Manifestations Podcast also features a variety of solo episodes where I discuss personal experiences and anecdotes in a very candid fashion, covering everything from mental health, spirituality, philosophy, and even paranormal experiences. This is the Iblis Manifestations Podcast. To support it, be sure to subscribe to the channel and visit the link in the descriptions.
It's great talking to you, Cheyenne, really. And best of luck to your endeavors with this podcast. I think it's a great initiative.
You're my favorite person to talk to for interviews and stuff. So I love what you're espousing out here. I love the knowledge and the perspectives that you're curating through this, and I'm just so honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
As I told you, it was one of the most interesting interviews I've ever had, because we talk a lot more things than just music, and I really appreciated that.
I respect you deeply, and it's an honor to be here.
And friends, remember as always, better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. Enjoy the podcast. But then with the video, it's kind of panned out. So let's say mine will be on the left side, yours will be on the right. But what I do when I am actually doing the post-production for the podcast, I get a mono export from the actual video file. Right. Then I go mix it and edit it.
Do you chop it all?
I don't chop it up as such, but like I drop in noise gate, EQ, compressor.
Right. Yeah.
And then afterwards, I drop it back in the video project. Then I mix it with the intro and the outro, and then that's it. Yeah.
So it's like, do you center them, kind of, or are they still left?
Yeah. So I make it mono because I find it's a little distracting when you're listening to a podcast and then it's going fucking left and right.
Especially with headphones.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Good to have you back on the show, man.
Good to meet you finally too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
After all these years.
Yeah. It's been a while. Obviously, we've been in touch, and maybe a little bit of a fitness-related connection there as well. How are you finding the tour, man? That was a fucking killer show you guys put on tonight. That was great.
A little bit of a tougher crowd tonight opening. Sometimes it's like that, but getting them to interact sometimes. But it was good. The tour has actually been really, really good. We were talking earlier, I was saying Paris was great, London was great. That festival, that Samhain festival in
Netherlands
is really fucking good.
A few friends of ours went to that. They said it was really good.
Awesome, yeah. Is it those two girls here tonight? They were here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They went.
Yeah, we met them. Where else? Stockholm was great. Gothenburg was really good. Yeah, it's probably been one of the most easygoing, I don't want to say relaxed, but just logistically easiest tours, because this is the first time we're on a bus. Drives here are a little shorter usually, like we just came from doing the US.
Yeah.
Which are a lot longer.
It's a big difference.
You're in a van, you're doing like El Paso to Denver, which is 10 hours, and then you're doing that to Albuquerque and then Albuquerque to Dallas, like that just ridiculous routing that we had to do. So this has been like a nice change of pace, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've really been enjoying this tour, honestly. It's been really good.
That's great. And I think one thing that's good about it as well, obviously it's you guys, Ghost Bath and UADA, so it's 3 bands. When you got 4 bands on, it just like, if you're an opening band on a 4-band lineup, you always get treated like shit.
It's too much, and you start earlier because there's 4 bands, and you end later. So
everyone misses your set.
Yeah,
because they're getting time off. You know, by the time they finish work and then get to the show.
Try to get there at 7.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we actually lucked out. Most of the time on the Deicide tour in the States, people did come out early, but there were a couple shows where they were lacking a little bit in the beginning, but it happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How was the run with Deicide?
Really good.
You guys were on the road for like, what, fucking 3 months or something?
Yeah, so we did, before that we did Hell Ripper and then festivals in Europe. That was our first European tour. And that was mid-July to mid-August. Got home for 3 weeks. Went on the Deicide tour for 5 weeks. And just shy of it because they actually ended it early due to the hurricane that hit.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. I recall seeing that they had to go home.
Yeah. So
happened with Cannibal Corpse because we saw them in Birmingham. Obviously, everyone now knows what happened there, but obviously our thoughts are with Eric Rutan and his family, and of course everyone else affected by that, by the incident of the hurricane. But they came on stage, and I mean they sound great. But then I was saying to people next to me, I'm like, they're a 4-piece, and then everyone was like, "Oh, what are you talking about? They sound great. The guitars sound fine." I'm like, "No, they're a 4-piece. Fucking Eric's not there, like."
Yeah. So they didn't even announce it at all. They just
only like at the end of the show, George kind of pointed out to it and then said that, and yeah, man, I feel fucking sorry for the guy, because he's
for sure. I heard it got pretty rough where he was.
Yeah.
Our drummer is from Greenville, South Carolina, and then so kind of around his region and right above him in Asheville got like the most demolished.
Oh shit!
And that's what you hear about with FEMA giving people like $750 or something. It's like, here's $750. There was a lot of backlash on the lack of media coverage and things like the lack of help that were going to those people. So there was a lot of bullshit.
And it was also a case of, from my understanding, again, I don't live there, but I have a lot of friends there underground in those areas, including my friend Katie. She actually came on the show and talked about it. It's like, people aren't getting the help that they need, but then they're trying to help each other out, but then they're being told not to do that, or they'll face consequences for it, which is, I think, so fucking backwards.
It's
really
ridiculous. Yeah, I've been meaning to listen to that one with her. Or is that not out yet?
It's not out yet.
Okay.
It'll be out soon.
Yeah.
I'll release it close to the election.
I'm sure she popped off about that.
Yeah.
She is a fireball of energy. So
I love her. She's the best.
She's awesome.
She's fucking cool.
But back to the Cannibal thing though. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But that tour ended early with us. Honestly, I was having vocal issues towards the end there. I got sick. So an extra half week off was nice. Before we came over here, because we were gonna be home, I think, like a Saturday, and then we're flying out that next Friday or something like that. So it was like less than a week. So another half week off was nice to kind of like rest my voice a little bit. So we came over here. It was enough time to kind of unwind and then come back over here and do this. So this is like the last shebang before the year ends, and we have Thanksgiving at home, and I don't talk to anybody for a year.
Yeah, I remember from last year actually when we were talking about that, and I remember you were saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. Yeah. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. Yeah, exactly. It's Thanksgiving. Yeah. But that's nice. It's good. Yeah. It's good that you've got that.
For sure. Yeah. I'm gonna go in my cave for a couple months. No, not really. We're gonna go home and write an album for the next year. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's going to be the plans. No touring on the books right now.
Of course. Yeah. Well, it makes sense. You've kind of been exhausting things everywhere.
We did a lot this year and last year, so need that a little break. Maybe some stuff will come up, but we got we got a new drummer, as I was telling you, so it'll be new album, new drummer, new label with Metal Blade, so we really have to get into gear and hit it pretty hard.
What's your new drummer's name?
Matt Morris.
Matt.
So he toured with us from 2019 on, basically. I think he took a little bit of a break from like 2023 and like the beginning of this year. But we, you know, when Sean left at the beginning of this year for good, because he just could never really tour anyway, so Matt isn't really new for us. He's been playing with us, like I said, since 2019.
I was gonna say, he doesn't play like he's a new member.
No, and people zone in on Matt because he's a fucking madman on stage. Yeah. He's a really good drummer and he hits really hard. So people really enjoy watching him.
And you need that for this style of music as well, especially as the opening band. It's basically your job.
Yeah,
you are there to wake people up.
Exactly. Yeah,
and you need a good drummer to do that.
Yeah, we come out guns blazing. Matt's perfect for that. He definitely turns heads. And he's a character too, so people like him on stage too. Yeah. He's a funny guy. So he's not new. It felt the most comfortable. I thought we weren't gonna get him for a second there because we just had scheduling things. Then he was like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do the touring. And then finally I was like, just do it. Just please do it. I had to beg him basically. But
Sean was a founding member of the band. So
me and Sean founded CLOAK. So
in 2013, you said.
And then had like a small hiatus in 2014, and then really kicked it into gear in 2015. So, you know, like a 10-year thing with him. So
how do you feel about him obviously departing from the band and then you kind of carrying it on? Because I'm assuming you're now the only founding member left?
Me and
Max.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
Player. So
he's the guy who introduced you to Iblis, right?
Yes.
There you go.
He's
good
the
guy. I don't know
guy.
him, but I already know he's a great guy for doing that.
Yeah, he's the podcast guy. He introduced me to you, Carl, Jackie. I think
the Horseman.
Too. Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Cool.
But yeah, me and Max. Still a team, still a writing team, but Sean was a big part of the writing team, so it'll be different for sure. But Matt, like, he knows the music and he knows what we try to do, and we are, we hit some new grounds on the last album, and I think it'll take what we did on that one and maybe go to different extremes with it. So we're in that place where it's like, well, we can go this way or we can go that way. It's just what we're feeling at the time, and I already have, I think, 3 or 4 solid demos that I'm pretty happy with that are gonna go in that direction. So
right on, and that's gonna be all coming out on Metal Blade.
Yeah, and I don't know what year it takes. You know how long it takes to make a record.
Cool. Are they flexible with you? Are they like just take your time and just?
They are, but you know they want us to get going on, and I want to get going on it too. So I'd like to finish. I'd like to finish writing it at least by later next year. Try to get in the studio by then, but again, you know how long it takes to make a record. It's just... It
gets surprisingly more difficult as time goes on.
Absolutely.
I think it's a lot harder. So this is one thing that I discovered is that when you're writing music and you don't really have stuff out there that people already like,
right?
It's kind of like you can go wherever the fuck you want with it.
Yeah.
But when you release something and then it sets the standard really high and people actually love it, then it's like, oh, fuck.
They always judge the next one.
It becomes a lot harder. I mean, it's not about people's judgment, but for yourself, it's like, oh, I already created something that sort of clicked. It worked,
for sure,
you know, and you, when you play it live, you feel it, you get a good response, but then also from like an industrial perspective, it does well. Yeah. I find that fucks with me more than not having anything out there that anyone cares about. Does that make sense?
I agree, and we've already talked about, like, Black Flame did that for us, so it was like...
That's when you were with Season, right?
Yeah, that was our last one on Season that came out last year.
Yeah.
And
good record.
Thank you. So, and I talked about on that, I was like, this I think will be a record in our catalog that people will always go back to, and we need to surpass that and do something, like, not try to do Black Flame Part 2, but like, this is a good foundation of where I think we needed to be, and I think where fans liked us to go. But then again, over in Europe, I'm hearing a lot of compliments on the first 2 records, which I feel like we're maybe more promoted over in Europe than the third one, because in the States it's a lot of the third one. People like that one, but we did tour a lot on the first 2. But it was interesting though. Like last night, someone was talking about how they loved the second one, and me as the person who's already been there, done that, I'm like, oh, that's cool because I'm really over that record. But I like the third one a lot. But so it's interesting how it works. But again, I think Black Flame is a good foundation for where it should go next. Basically.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well,
Which is complicated because
it is.
Yeah, you don't want to do this part 2 and just kind of phone it in, but you want to take the elements of that, what worked, and kind of build upon it.
Absolutely. And one thing that I also always notice is that the more you tour your material, the more you become familiarized with what you're, I guess, comfortable with on stage.
Yeah, and that changes a lot of the writing.
Yeah, because if you just focus on what you want to hear, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But then, when it comes to playing music, especially the style that we play, and especially the way you guys perform on stage, so it's a very physical endeavor.
Sure.
It's a whole body experience. It's not just your right hand and then just
no, it's
your
not a lot of
fret
speed picking, really.
It's your entire body moving with the music.
Because it's mid-pace, a lot of it's mid-pace, so it's like you said.
Exactly. I think what happens with that is when you get to know your own, I guess, musical body language on stage, that then bleeds into your songwriting.
It's true. It's very true. Yeah. Like you said, the way to move to these songs is different than just like it's not just speed picking the whole time, and
which there's nothing wrong with. No,
and and there's plenty. I love that stuff too. There's that, but the way the more that we've played live, the more I've taken what works and how what am I trying to say? So you see what works more live, and then you go back and you write and you hone it in a little bit more. And like our first record, for example, it meandered a little bit here and there, and it went in these different directions, and it had this more mystical feel. But playing a song from the first record as opposed to playing like With Fury and Allegiance on the second, the new one just hits harder live. It just does. And
I agree.
Yeah.
Now that I've seen it, I can agree. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And so it's like, but I love having that the dynamics of the other stuff too. I don't want to just be like brutality the whole time. Like I love having that more mystical side of it too. But there's a way to mix both, and I think that's what CLOAK is. It's the mixture of the two. The like brutality, and then the more what's the word, like the mystical approach to it, and it's kind of blending the two.
No, I absolutely agree. I think I think you guys do a good job of bringing in that sort of musical diversity. One thing that in particular that I appreciated was the usage of the free times.
Okay.
That's very important to me, right? I mean, it's one thing that we always do in TRIVAX as well, and I think that you kind of need that. You need, because that's like, to me, that's using just, cymbals, double kick, and then just open chord. That you fucking need that at a show, because it's almost like you're talking to the crowd with your instruments, and that's actually a really good way to get people hyped up as well, different audiences and different cultures kind of react a little differently to that.
Are you talking about the like interludes in between songs, or you?
So basically what Metallica does.
Sure. The build up.
The Metallica thing. It's a free time, So when you got the cymbals and then just kick and then just you're not playing a song, but you're just doing a thing. Like how you do it at the end of the show, for example, all the V's going on.
Sure.
I like the little Raining Blood thing you got there.
Yeah. I think this is the last tour we're going to do that, because I'm like, well, we've done it for years and people know it now. So for the people that don't know, we do a little teaser of, we end the show with just the first part of the Raining Blood riff. And
then you end it.
And then we end it.
That's clever.
And people always go, oh!
I love shit like that.
Yeah, so
I live for that kind of stuff, because it's like what Metallica does with Fredo End of Sanity at the end of their shows.
Yeah.
So they don't play the song. They'll let's say end with like Enter Sandman or something, or that's what they've been closing the shows with for years. But also before that it was Seek and Destroy. Yeah. But then out of nowhere they're doing this open note, and then and then they end on that.
I love that.
That riff.
Yeah.
I love those kind of like little
Easter
things.
Eggs.
Yeah, Easter eggs. That's the word. Yeah.
And I think and someone said it in a show review one time that they're like, and they ended it with the Slayer thing, just honing in on the fact that they are an American band. And like, I never really even thought of that, but I mean, we're we're proud to be doing what we're doing in the States. It's not very common, so it's to like, you know, pay homage to the big guys out there, and we're just huge Slayer fans anyway. But I like little things like that, and but yeah, I think this might be the last one we do because we've done it for a couple of years now. So it's like, let's do something different. I think we used to do a Black Sabbath Paranoid for a little bit. It was like, and it.
Cool.
Yeah, just little Easter eggs.
Cool.
Yeah, just to say that we love music too. You know, we are fans. Just so it's.
I don't know if you've seen it, man. I'm doing a birthday gig in London in like a couple of weeks, and
sweet.
Yeah, and what we're doing is me and the TRIVAX guys, but it's not a TRIVAX show. We're playing fucking heavy metal covers from start to finish.
Awesome.
You know,
yeah.
so we got Black Sabbath and Maiden. Tell you what, I think this is gonna come out after the birthday anyway, so I can tell you. So we're opening with Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath from Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And then we're playing Rapid Fire, Judas Priest.
Awesome.
You know, and then all these songs. There's like fucking 13 songs, and I've only ever played 9 of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, 4 of them live. So I've got 9 to learn in the next 2 weeks.
Are you singing them too?
Yeah, fuck
Okay.
yeah.
So it's TRIVAX. There's no like special members.
We've got 5 guests going in and out
Okay,
of
cool.
going on and off stage, you know, with like
okay.
different instruments.
That's
Some
awesome.
couple of people doing vocals and stuff. But yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna be fucking rowdy.
You're gonna do like dirty vocals over those, or are you gonna try to?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I can do it properly. I can do it properly.
Sick.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I want to see footage.
You should come over.
Yeah, exactly. I'll come back over. I'm used to the flight now.
There you go.
Yeah, I was dreading it before, but doing it twice, I'm like, okay, that wasn't as bad the second time.
There you go. How long have you got left on the rest of the tour?
This is halfway, so we have I think 10 more shows. It's like a 3-week run.
Okay.
So
where does that
22
take us,
weeks.
date-wise?
Tomorrow is Brighton. So
You're
that's
playing
us.
Brighton?
Yeah.
Okay.
On
Any
Halloween.
other UK shows other than that?
Nope, just London, Bristol, Brighton.
Oh wow, cool. So you're doing 3 southern dates in the UK.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know how Brighton will be on Halloween. We'll see.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Brighton's
Smaller.
got an alright scene.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of very kooky people down there.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
We know the Hellripper drummer, so he's down there. So maybe we'll get him to come out. But
cool.
Yeah.
Those are good guys as well.
Yeah. They were cool to tour with. And then going back to Belgium, Namur, however you pronounce it. We played that same venue last time. What's after that? A ton of German dates as always.
I'll ask you a question. Yeah. So, you know, obviously the one thing you and I both have in common is that we're both sober.
Yep.
Okay. You've always been sober, which I think is admirable. That's
Thank you.
It's both impressive but also intriguing to me.
Okay.
It's like, how do you get to be like that, you know? How do you end up like that?
I just never got into it.
No?
I just never like got into the idea of it. And I guess I was into punk growing up, and a lot of like bands that I liked were straight edge guys, and so I was like, oh, I can relate to that. And then I don't really like to say, I'm not part of like the whole straight edge culture, like the hardcore bro-y thing is kind of weird to me. But
not preachy about it.
No, I never really was.
Yeah.
But when my friends started to do it, you know, when I was a kid, it kind of like, because we were all kind of, we were in a band at 13, we were all kind of, we're not going to do this. But then they started again to do it, and I was kind of like, God damn.
Yeah.
I'm the only one left. It sort of bummed me out, but I was like, you know, young kids. But yeah, I just...
Only one left who wasn't partaking?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
sure.
So, I don't know, man. I never got into it, but I'm around it all the time. I mean, there's a Jack Daniels bottle right there.
Well, this is the reason why I brought it up. So there's a bottle of empty, mostly empty Jack Daniels there, you know, so at least it's been put to good
the
use.
Ghost Bath guys like to hit that.
Cool. So this is the thing, you know, like, you know, obviously for me, I've got plenty of experiences with it, but then I realized, actually, you know what, I don't think this is the way to do anything.
Yeah.
And I also I'm an extreme person, you know, I like to be an extremist. So I was like, let's just see what happens if I completely stop. And I stopped, and then it's been like over 2 years. I'm like, I think I might never go back now.
Was it hard at first?
No.
Okay.
No. So here's the thing, you know, like, I should choose my words carefully here, because I have a lot of people who follow this podcast who have genuinely got struggles, you know, and they've had a hard time, you know, and I totally appreciate that those people maybe find some kind of solace in these conversations.
Sure. Yeah.
Or at least maybe like a few points to take away from them.
Definitely.
You know, so for me, the last time I had it, it was kind of like, it was okay actually. I didn't have a bad time.
Yeah.
But it was me, my girlfriend, our bass player, and his ex-girlfriend at the time. You know, who's still a good friend of ours.
Okay.
And then after that, I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
As in stopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great. I've never looked back since.
Nice.
You know?
And that was 2 years, you said?
Over 2 years
2
now,
years
yeah.
ago?
So what I want to ask you is, how do you manage that kind of whilst you're on the road when like 90% of everyone else, if not literally everyone else, is doing it? And then sometimes people like to probe you, sometimes people like to test and see maybe...
Tease.
Yeah, maybe, let's see if we break it.
Scott, you gonna drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's water, ha ha ha, okay.
Yeah. So how do you kind of, you know, handle yourself with that?
I think, so the group of guys that I'm with CLOAK are pretty fucking even-keeled people. Max can have a beer, he's not a party guy at all.
Okay.
He's pretty introverted.
Sure.
I'm kind of half and half. I like to be social, but I can be alone for like a long time too, so almost too much. Matt, like I said, he's a funny guy. Like he likes to, you know, have fun too, but he's not. There's no issue with it. He just, if he wants to have a drink, he does it. I think they had a good time last night. They went out, but same with Billy. So
the first thing that you're referring to is actually your own band. So it seems to me that that's where the opinion matters the most outside of yourself.
So, well, I'm just saying since I'm with guys like this, basically I'm saying I can never be in a party band.
Right.
On the road. So the fact that I'm with these guys that are like the way that I described, it makes it easier. And they know that we mean business. We need to do, you know, what we're out here to do.
Fuck yeah.
It's not a fucking party band. But it's rock and roll. People are going to do, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll is a real thing.
Sex, drugs, and sausage rolls.
Yeah. There's a lot of that too. But
sure.
yeah. But no, I mean, it's not that hard. And I was joking before when we sat down here. I'm like, oh wow, I'm never down here because I'm the first one up to my fucking bunk at the end of the night. I like to sleep, and that's the hardest part about tour is the lack of sleep and the lack of good food, or nourishing food. But it's a little easier out here in Europe. But
So what I'm kind of referring to is how do you psychologically put up with peer pressure?
Okay.
That's more what I'm asking.
I just let it fly off of me. I'm pretty, it's never bothered me. So it's kind of just a joke at this point.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. Or it's more of an annoying joke. Like I said, it's like, I'll have like the fucking root beer or something. It's like, Scott drinking! And it's not even funny anymore. It's not even a funny joke.
Yeah,
so
yeah, right, okay.
It's never bothered me. Yeah.
So because you've already made up your mind, so additional pressure, it's almost like, feels like a waste of energy.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like,
There
I
you
definitely had friends, like close friends growing up that are just like, Scott, I'm gonna get you to do it one day. Just do it. Just try it. You can't say, you know, and that's almost a joke to me because I'm like, well, now I'm not going to do it just to piss this guy off.
Yes.
kind of joke.
Exactly.
Which is like sort of a joke, but it's also, it's kind of funny.
Well, this is the thing I was saying. I was having a chat with someone we both know actually and kind of look up to. I won't just name drop him on the podcast, but I was having a chat with him and I was like, I like to rebel against the world. This is why I chose to play this music. This is why I chose why I am the way that I am as a person. You know, I think all of us who get drawn to this genre of music are kind of like a little bit. There's a wire that's like a little bit off somewhere deep down. You know.
Yeah, we're all a little autistic, probably. No,
I think it goes a little deeper than that, but sure, yeah. We'll throw the spectrum in there as well. But the thing that I think kind of does it is that I also like to rebel to people close to me.
Yeah, so within the scene.
I don't like to just rebel against the world and just against like modern culture and all that. That I definitely fucking love rebelling against because I think it's fucking bullshit and should be burnt down anyway. Yeah,
and it's not hard to rebel against that stuff if you know the other way. So.
No. But also this sounds crazy, but and it might seem contradictory to some people, but you actually need you sort of need good parenting behind you to do that as well.
I agree.
I think that plays a very big part, but no one talks about it because it's not cool. But
no, I could go on for that for a while.
Yeah?
With the parenting thing for sure, yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna hit some rabbit holes with it, but
yeah, sure.
Just father figures and things like that, and the lack of father figures and the way you see people go. But yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. But,
so I think that there's like a degree of there's like a value in even rebelling against your own closest friends, you know, where they're like, okay, you want to do that just because it's a part of the culture and it's a thing? Fine, you do you.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna fucking do it, and I'm gonna do it in spite of all of you, you know.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it's almost like even though they're close friends to you and they're very dear people, it's kind of a little bit like fuck you,
fun,
you know.
Yeah, for sure. So I know, I definitely know what you mean. Especially with like my buddies growing up and stuff. It's almost a joke, but no one was really that aggressive. People in the South are kind of like, the South is known to be kind of like laid back and sort of not very harsh, but people in the North are kind of more maybe like how people in England might be, sort of a little more harsh.
Okay.
Or if that's a thing here, which I thought it.
Well, people over here are actually very passive.
Okay, so
I
that's
would
sort
say.
of the South then. Actually.
Yeah.
So I didn't get I didn't get a ton of like hard push on it, but it was teasing, you know, all the time. But now I'm fucking 34. I haven't touched it in my whole life. Take a hint. It's
That's
not
great.
gonna happen.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
that's
so.
cool.
But I think there's if people want to do it, and it's not an issue. I think you can do what you want to do as long as you don't go down a dark path with it.
Do you think you would ever try it? Like, let's say you're 67 years old or whatever, and you're like, I'm gonna have one glass, and it's gonna be the only time in my life where I'm gonna have it.
I've thought about that. I probably.
I'm not trying to prompt you.
No. But I've like brought up the fact to my friends that I probably would be the guy. So I never drank coffee till, this isn't coffee, but I've never drank coffee till I was 25, and I really enjoy coffee now. So I thought I would probably be into like good beers and good wines and like trying, just like tasting it and trying, not just to get drunk, but I probably would enjoy that for a social thing with good friends around you or whatever. But no, I probably still won't do it.
That's fair enough. I respect that.
Yeah.
Do you understand why I bring this up? Is because a lot of people who do kind of partake in the lifestyle, you know, and I'm increasingly like getting more and more messages about it in my inbox, or like these kind of interactions or in-person stuff, you know, or I meet people who are actually listening to the podcast, which is like the fucking craziest thing ever. It's beautiful. I'm super humbled by that.
Sure.
But one thing that is very common that people tell me, you know, or even if I speak to people outside of it, is that, oh, you know, I kind of want to quit, but then when I'm out, my friends are kind of like saying, oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you not drinking? You know, why are you not doing that? You know, just let your hair down. You know, like, oh, just have some fun. Just a little bit is okay. You know? And it's never, first of all, just a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
That concept doesn't exist for a lot of people who do participate.
No.
So, I think it's good for us to talk about it, just to kind of let people know, hey, there's this other option where you can just fucking say no.
Yeah, and again, it's probably a lot of it has to do with the lifestyle that I live at home, which is pretty low key. I don't really go out to bars a lot. Like in the South, it's a lot of like, you're either gonna go to a bar or you're gonna like hang out at friends' houses, and I usually do that. Like we do grill outs or, you know, movie nights and shit like that. It's where we can just like actually hang out, not like be around a bunch of fucking idiots in a bar.
That sounds pretty healthy.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that, and then just me going outside with my dog and trying to, you know, relax that way. So it's that like juxtaposition and that balance. So I don't really, but then again, like I love to go to metal shows with a group of people and, you know, have fun and do that too. And I don't need to drink to do that. So it's just the way I am. I'm a weirdo.
But that's the thing, you know, there's a sense of empowerment in that too.
Sure,
you know? You set your own standards and your own goals. That's the whole point of, you know, like this is the thing that so many people miss the mark on. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be preachy about it, but I'm just saying the whole point of this fucking music is that you get to think for yourself. Yeah. You get to set your own standards, live your own fucking life, and do things your way.
Yep.
So to do something for the sake of it, just because it's a part of the culture and it's accepted, just because Lemmy used to do it.
Yeah.
And I love Lemmy, by the way.
Sure, yeah.
But it just feels like, to me, that way of thinking is missing the mark completely.
And it's like somewhat outdated in a way too, because you had the 80s was like a time of, you know, indulging and
Good point.
in a like it can be just kind of cheesy now, I guess. Well, at least in the genre that we're in, which is more of like a thinking man's metal. You know, it's not just.
That's actually a really good point, because the culture that's kind of been passed down maybe isn't even entirely compatible with today's world. Or maybe it is, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. Because you know what that makes me think of? There was a Joey Diaz quote, Joey Diaz of all people, you know, that I actually saw, and I thought, fuck, that's so accurate.
Yeah.
And it was something to the effect of, when you raise your kids, don't raise them the same way your parents raised you, because the world your parents raised you for no longer exists.
Yeah, it changes rapidly, and I don't know if what I say. Maybe it's not like outdated, but what I'm saying is like the 80s was a very free time, and
you didn't have mobile phones and social media.
No,
that's basically it.
Right,
Yeah.
and Coke was probably safer than it is now.
Less fentanyl.
Things like, we had a really bad situation with that in Atlanta where like 5 fucking people died that we knew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was that.
Wow.
It's just like the party's over on that. Like when people still do that, I'm just like, you're playing with fire there. But
one of the craziest things I saw, I mean, this has been a thing for like a couple of years now, but like parents were actually sending their kids to parties with test kits.
Yeah, and it's kind of just like,
if it's
maybe just don't fucking do it.
Yeah,
just,
right?
Well, I have this. Yeah,
but
probably
imagine,
going down a weird road here, but it's like, well, I have this Narcan, and I have this test kit, and I have that, and it's like, well, you could just not do it. But of course, have those things too if like you really need to, you know, you're fucking addicted to Coke or whatever. But
imagine the
not
fucking
many
fact that
people are.
parents are accepting the fact that, okay, my kid might do Coke.
Yeah.
I'd rather be upfront about him about it,
Yeah.
so he doesn't fucking die. So here's a test kit just in case it's got fentanyl. That's the fucking weirdest thing.
It's weird, and I guess if you put it like that, though, like, well, just in case they are going to do it anyways, but because kids are going to do what they're going to do. Maybe, yeah, that's a weird one.
So just say no.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty much.
Here's your anti-drug ad for Iblis Manifestations.
Yeah, and like again, we're not trying to be preachy, but it's just like
no, it's just
play
to
Russian
think
roulette.
about it.
Yeah, here's a gun. There might be a bullet in there. Shoot yourself in the head. Yeah, it's just like, or just don't pull the trigger. You know, it's sometimes as simple as that.
Good analogy. Yeah.
And I know there's people nowadays that are like, well, you know, some people need to do, and it's like, no, let's cut the shit. You don't really need to do, like, you can just have a beer. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another road you could go down, but.
I mean, I'm saying all of this for the record, you know, I'm still big into psychedelics.
Sure.
You know, I'll do my yearly DMT visits, you know, and.
There's value in that for sure, I think.
I think so.
Maybe
Would you ever do that?
It seems definitely interesting and valuable, but that would actually be really funny if I just jumped straight into that.
Yeah. Well, I did ayahuasca earlier this year.
Yeah. How was that?
I don't think I can talk about it on here.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll talk about anything on here.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I've definitely heard of very cool experiences.
So I won't recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not my place to do that.
Okay.
Because actually, she's got her own intelligence. She's got her own database.
Yeah.
And when people might hear me like I'm referring to she, like what's he talking about? No. Like, if you know, you know. It's like one of those things. But what I will say is that I wouldn't say it was a life-changing experience, but a life-affirming experience.
Okay.
Because I kind of realized, oh, I'm like this for a reason. I am the way that I am. I'm extra for this and this reason. So actually, instead of kind of being shy and trying to fit in, it actually made me go, you know what? fucking go full throttle, you know,
Right.
like turn it all the way up to 11, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I know that sounds very psychological, but it is.
Well, that's what it's for. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you had to be in a place where you felt very like safe, and you were probably in your own. I don't know.
I was surrounded by fucking hippies.
Oh, okay. So did you do it in like a group setting?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of people do that too.
Yeah. No, it's actually good. It's you know,
Yeah.
you have to. If anyone ever looks into it, again, I'm not making the recommendation. It's
Yeah.
expensive. It's also risky. You only should do it if you 110 fucking % are convinced you want to do it. Don't ever let anyone tell you you should do it.
I've heard it can go.
It can go very wrong.
ways,
Yeah.
for sure.
She'll fucking kick your ass if you were
Yeah.
there with any sort of arrogance or anything. You know, you have to surrender.
Is this like you don't have to go deep into it, more like a Kali type of divine deity, or was this that you're referring to, or is it something different?
It's a great question, actually. I don't know how specifically I can answer that,
Yeah.
but you know, they do call it the devil's wife
Okay.
for a reason. But I actually think that kind of sounds a little scary.
Yeah.
To me, it's actually
I'm sorry,
very
one
much.
sec.
To me, it's actually very much a sort of like a life-affirming kind
Yeah.
of a entity or a thing.
Okay.
But the thing I want you to look at it is it's a database
Okay.
of its own that people can interact with. I was not planning on talking about this at all, but it came up.
Now we're just going deep
Now,
into that.
now we're there.
Yeah. No, that's extremely interesting. I have friends that'll do acid trips yearly or shrooms regularly, and
That's got its value too.
yeah, you got to be
Does a
careful with
lot.
that stuff too, because that could mentally.
Yeah.
There could be a switch that goes off of that too, like for good. But
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially with both mushrooms and LSD,
Yeah.
you can experience
For
that
sure.
where it kind of fucks you up permanently. Back in 2014, I thought, I thought it happened to me actually. Yeah.
no wonder that friend's a little off.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
If you've got any sort of like underlying thing of schizophrenia, bipolar, don't go after any of them.
Yeah.
Because it can exacerbate it and then it can be permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a scary thing for sure. But,
absolutely.
Yeah, I won't go down that road then. But no, I don't. Luckily, don't have any of that. But
Sure.
speaking of the Jack bottle, he had to just grab the Jack bottle.
I know.
It's gone.
Fucking infidels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Scott, it's been fucking awesome having you
Yeah,
back
for
on the
sure.
show, man. Great to finally
Yeah,
meet in person.
for sure.
You know, it was a long time coming.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all the absolute best of the future
Yeah,
with
for
CLOAK.
sure. Thanks,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Thanks
You
for
got
coming out
anything you
tonight.
want to share with people?
No, not really. This will probably be out after the tour, so thanks to whoever, you know, anyone who's come out in the U.S. or the European tours. It's been fucking awesome. So appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Support the fuck out of CLOAK. These guys are cool as fuck.
All right.
And yeah, we'll see you on the next episode of Iblis Manifestations.